Okay, and we are back on the Eastern Front with Operation Barbarossa to Berlin. Right, where did I leave off here? My infantry are preparing to push into Alytus itself. We've pretty much defeated the German armor. We've got artillery falling now on that anti-tank gun position there, so it should be safe to move these T-26s out. The fight against the German armor did pretty much come down to the T-34s. The T-26s and BT-7s scored a few kills, but I mostly just got them wiped out. But enough survived that they should be pretty helpful in providing fire support to finish off the town. Let's get these infantry moving forward. Yeah, we will have... Oh, hang on. How far away? You know, it's not even 1,000 meters away. The Maxim can provide perfectly effective fire support from where it is. I don't want the FO to move forward. But the infantry platoon proper should start moving forward. These tanks do have a fairly significant pause. Oh, and I have more tanks. These T-26 M31s, of course, have no anti-armor weapons, so we're pretty useless in the tank versus tank phase of the fight. But now that we're onto the infantry phase, yeah, now that it is time to fight the German infantry, these T-26 M31s should prove to be much more valuable. They've got a lot more ammunition than the Mark 6B British machine gun only tanks. Alright, do I have more orders to give to my T-34s? I don't know if at some point in the battle more tanks are going to pop up. Oh, and there is still, yeah, we've mostly wiped out the German tanks. There is still one left. Oh. And that spotter. Some more volleys coming in 15 seconds. I think once we finish off that last Panzer II there... Oh, could there be another one back there? Ah, okay. So we think there's probably 2 German tanks left here. Once we finish them off, I think I will position my T-34s in a sort of on guard duty in case more German tanks come in as reinforcements. You, what? Okay. I think that order I'd given you on the idea that you might move around and get the drop on this Panzer IV, but it's already burning, so those orders are irrelevant now. Broken and burning Panzer IV does look pretty good. Okay, it's the crew. What I want from you now just rotate towards the likely places where enemy reinforcements might come from. Once we've finished off the last of the German tanks here, these guys will do the same. Then my infantry and light tanks will take Alytus itself. Okay. The mortars. HQ. Okay. Now, another mortar. I can move up here. And company HQ is not a whole lot for you to do, but you've got 5 rifles and 2 pistols. That's something. Oh, sneaking is going to take way too long and be way too tiring. Gun damaged. So that T-26 is basically out of the fight then. Okay, that should be a good position for that gun. Alright then. Next turn. Seem to have a sufficient weight of infantry firepower to push forward here. I'm going to need to push these tanks further forward in order to get them a line of sight. Those enemy tanks. Let's see. Okay, those guys did start moving forward this turn. Where it had given them too many orders and the orders delay was a little too much for them. Okay, some general progress there. I don't think there's a whole lot to dwell on that turn, so straight on to the next one. And there's plenty of... Oh, I have. I was going to say there's plenty of movement orders I could just let finish, but I need to start giving fresh movement orders. To destroy these remaining German tanks. Give you a few pause orders to get you back more or less in sync with everyone else who's got punishing orders delays. Okay, that should do for this turn. Yeah, we've turned that objective flag gray again, so we're at least contesting the objective. Oh, did I forget to give you orders, or are you just on a punishing orders delay? Oh, you're turning very slowly. Okay. Yeah. He has probably reached orders delay. Okay, so we've got infantry there. Sure would be nice. Okay, so something just shot at you. Ooh, I wonder if the Germans have anti-tank rifles present. Okay, it's something... It penetrated but didn't do any serious damage. I'm pretty sure... Okay. We do know there's this anti-tank gun over here that we had spotted a while back, which I'm currently hammering with artillery. I don't know if I'm destroying it. Oh. Right, that machine gun. I should move up to these woods. Ah, and we did have some success with that tank. This was the one that got the kill. These labels here can clutter up the UI, but they do provide a lot more information that I think is worth having. Okay, that's crew. Hopefully some of these tanks will start spotting that infantry. Yeah, okay, so it sounded like it might be an anti-tank rifle. Penetrated the turret of a T-26 without doing any serious damage. So something without a whole lot of post-penetration effect. Maybe it's plausible that the 37mm anti-tank gun could punch a hole in... I mean, yeah, it could happen. If it happens repeatedly without destroying the T-26, then it's gotta be an anti-tank rifle. The Germans, they do have their how do you say it, the Panzerbuschke anti-tank rifle. This just comes in standard 7.92 rifle caliber. Oh, this machine gunner. Do not want to forget about him. Now, how far is that? It is a good 250 meters I want you to move. So running... It's a 6-man crew. Maybe they can break it down and run with it, but... I'm sure you'll get there in adequate time if you just walk. Send this platoon to make sure that anti-tank gun is out of action. How many more minutes can my FO keep firing? I guess we don't get that information, but probably only one more turn. And the closest squad there, that was 300 meters to go. So they're not getting there this turn. Let's have you guys start moving forward. Oh, right. Let's go ahead and start getting into the town. You occupy the bottom floor. You occupy the top floor. You guys just get a little bit closer. However close you can get before you really need to stop and shoot. You probably start safely moving into some of these buildings here. How far is that? 132 meters. Save that order for next turn, but I think it's going to be a run. Okay. Next turn. Really like for... Okay. It's twice we've had something penetrate the hull of the... Or, I guess the first one was the turret. But without doing any serious damage. That's gotta be an AT rifle. Gotta take that thing out eventually, because eventually it will start doing some serious damage. At the very least, it's shaking the morale of this tank. Okay, so my infantry can't really advance on this angle. Okay, so I'm gonna cancel those movement orders. They can't really push forward here. Oh, right, there is one more tank there. Once that tank is destroyed, the enemy will be out of armor. Oh, hang on. Something did some Wait, oh, that's the tank. Because I'd taken the warning labels off, so when I was giving orders, I didn't have that big label there telling me that that tank was toothless. Okay, so we got the Panzer II there. Fortunately, the Panzer II doesn't really pose a threat to a T-34. Well, I suppose theoretically it does pose a threat, because it can put rounds through the gun tube or take out the tracks. Again, you know, any tank can take out any other tank. It's just really, really hard for some of them. Germans are reminding us that they do have a presence in this village. Now then, I think the way I would be trying to advance my infantry if this was CM2 is... Well, I would probably split my squads. I don't think there's any advantage to splitting squads in CM1 though, so I'm not going to do that. But I'd have them... Plenty of firepower. Yeah, there we... Didn't realize that was occupied before, but now we do. But the same fire and maneuver principles should work. You haven't taken any casualties yet. I'm going to give you a run order into that building. This squad should run forward a little bit. But yeah, start doing some bounding is how I need to be moving forward. Oh, who's panicking there? Ag. Okay, so that's not great. I have another FO somewhere, yes? Oh, and another Maxim. Okay, so that FO I'm having target that side of the village. Okay, that's something I definitely want to... No, maybe I want to cancel that. I think it would be more valuable to target these heavier center buildings. Overall, were there any interesting events that I missed? Yeah, that AT rifle is shaking the crew here. It's having an effect on their morale, and eventually it'll start having a physical effect. So if I allow it to just keep on shooting, it'll get lucky eventually and hit something important. Hang on. Can you target here? What? Yeah. Okay, so I'm not gonna have you run. Just fire to that area target right about there. That'll do fine. You run over here. Now you've got a bolt-action rifle and a submachine gun, so we'll get you up here into the fight. Run into that building. Stop for the time being. I do want you to move forward a little bit, but I think I have these two squads run. Okay, so they're on a 21-second pause order, and that is actually quite a long distance to run, so I'm going to shorten that up a little bit. Okay, that'll do. And actually, with the... Oh, okay, yeah, I will give you guys the orders to leapfrog forward. But we're going to give you a little extra orders delay there. Should start moving about 30 seconds after these guys. I don't want you to fall too far behind, but again, I'm going to give you a bit of an extra orders delay there. Okay, so you're going to move in 21 seconds. That should take you less than 30 seconds, I think, to get there. We may review forward up to about there and start moving 30 seconds after these guys start moving, so they should be in position. And there isn't really... I think I want to move you next, but there isn't really a good spot to move you to. Yeah, okay. Just a little bit closer. Again, start moving after others are already in position to maintain the fire. Yeah, I'm gonna cancel all of these movement orders. Cancel these movement orders. We're not, and yeah, we're just taking casualties without really being able to advance. Okay. That last Panzer II will be dead soon. When it is dead, you will already be on this hill, which is a fairly decent spot from which to blow up any Germans that enter the map. You might as well reverse back out of the fight. You go ahead and reverse onto a firing position on this hill overlooking where the Germans are likely to come from if they get any reinforcements. You just kind of get into a better firing position there. Point yourself halfway in between this road and this other road here. Okay. I need to find that rifle. Find that anti-tank rifle and take it out. Getting more squads into this particular fight here. These AT rifle rounds are penetrating the tank. So the only thing that's been saving this tank is the fact that AT rifles have pretty poor post-penetration effects. As long as the rounds are penetrating, each one has a chance of hitting something important eventually. So I can't just sit here taking fire forever, but I don't quite want to withdraw for a single AT rifle. So I could withdraw this tank and maybe just start shooting at a different tank. And if I withdraw all of my tanks, well, then the AT rifle has basically just done its job of getting rid of my tanks far more effectively than it would have done if I just kept them here. So I do need them to actually shoot at something. Okay, you know what? I think, having balanced all of those considerations, the most effective thing to do with these tanks is probably just... I don't want them to just sit here taking fire. I don't want to withdraw them. What's the alternative? Charge, I think, is probably the answer. So we've got more of these T-26s coming up to help in the fight. Oh, and Panzer II. Yeah, that last Panzer II will go up and observe its fate in a minute. It's certainly an interesting two-turret design there. So you can see his vision out of this thing must be absolutely atrocious. Because all we've got... I'm guessing that must be the cover for a vision slit. I don't see any optics on the sides or anything, so basically all the gunners have are forward-facing vision slit. I'm guessing that must be the driver's position there. Or, hang on. Is that driver's? No, that's got to be the driver's position, right? He's got a slightly larger optic, but it's still fairly narrow and just one forward-facing vision slit. Or maybe that's a full-on vision block. It does look a little bit larger. So, you know, that gives somewhat better visibility there than a vision slit. Still not fantastic. Okay. Oh, right. I want to observe the fate of that Panzer II. I mean, I know the fate of the Panzer II, I just want to see it. Because watching tanks blow up is what we all play for, right? Can't get no serious damage. Okay. So the Panzer II even managed to score a hit on the gun. But wasn't actually able to get a kill. That, I believe, is all of the German tanks on the field. Until and unless any reinforcements come up. We had some fire, I thought, going at that guy. Okay, the tanks are doing some shooting. Yeah, hang on. I saw some fire coming from you. Oh, but of course I do also have that artillery. It's about to come in another minute. If I have my tanks charge forward, they may be charging into the artillery. Best hang back for another 2 or 3 turns. Then we'll have them charge in. Oh, but since my infantry aren't making any headway on this route, yeah, maybe that's not going to work so well. Okay. Keep taking cover. Okay, well, you guys are still in the process of moving. Not a fan of you trying to sneak forward there. I think that's going to take too long. Oh, apparently I didn't give you further orders. You are getting closer. So these 2 squads are almost at their positions. Once they are, go ahead and have you rush forward and you rush forward. The built-in orders delay on that should be plenty of time to let these guys get to their positions. Oh, but of course, hang on. Maybe I should just make use of the advance order. Of course, with the Panzer II destroyed. And get you guys better positions. under fire from multiple machine guns and 45mm guns. Start advancing to the top floor. Let's begin that advance a little bit later. Shortly, I think we will let it. Oh, but first, I am going to pause the recording to refresh on coffee. Pause recording, unpause recording hotkeys set up properly. That should have looked pretty seamless to me. It's pretty seamless to you. Obviously, it wasn't seamless to me. Okay. Right then, I don't think I have a lot of orders to give this turn. It's just the artillery is about to start firing this turn. And once it does, then I can see where the edge of the barrage is hitting. We'll go ahead and have my tanks advance. Hopefully the crew of this tank is still in a shape to advance. Okay. Got a mortar has reached its position. Do I have any good targets for you? Maybe. Is it a good target? I don't know, but I don't want to just let my mortars go unused. So, any target is better than no target. Okay. Should start finding it a little bit easier to move forward shortly. That's going to be a waste of effort there. Okay. There's There's the artillery. What was that? That sounded different. Get a hold into the village. Tanks are finding targets to shoot at. Ow, yeah. Sit there, get hit repeatedly by the anti-tank rifle did eventually result in the crew at least getting spooked enough to bail out. Oh, and in fact they did take 2 casualties. They take both of those casualties from the same hit. Depending on the crew arrangement inside a T-26, that might be entirely plausible. Is that a 1-man turret or a 2-man turret? It's definitely 2. I mean, we got a 3-man crew, so 1 man's the driver. 2 different hits. I don't see a hull-mounted machine gun, so that means very plausibly 2 men in the turret. Yes, okay. In any case, I think... getting some effective fire there. Some of these tanks I do want to have go ahead and charge. Well, they've got a long orders delay, so if I order them all to charge, they will still have another 45 seconds of shooting from their current positions. that's not the order I thought I was giving. Advance. To advance, but yeah, okay. 68-second delay ought to be plenty. The artillery is making good use of its ammunition. But, yeah, just I don't anticipate having a better target for it at any point in the battle, so we'll let it exhaust its ammunition and move on to the next turn. Oh, hang on, why are you moving forward? I thought I'd decided that moving forward over this open ground here wasn't working, so I canceled all the move orders. There we see the tanks beginning to charge in the last few seconds of the turn. This platoon advance. In fact, this squad will advance into the building. Have you leapfrog forward into the next building. 31-second pause before you get started, which should be adequate. Let some of these tanks get forward and start putting more effective fire on these guys, making them a little bit safer to advance. Not sure 3 squads in the same building is really optimal, but I'll allow it. I suppose we might as well go ahead and let you advance into that heavy building, since you're going to be so close to it anyway. I think this platoon may be able to start moving forward shortly. In fact, what the hell, we'll go ahead and give them an advance order. Not sure why that tank crew is placing itself under the command of that platoon, but I don't want it to advance. you've got a long way to go, so we'll order you to walk that distance. 200 meters. Yeah, whatever took out this tank is now shooting at this tank. Dang it. You bit of a pause. You just move forward to keep everyone under your command. You get that far forward. This mortar somewhere where it might be able to get better angles. Okay. hitting anything with unguided bombs is extremely difficult. We still don't know what kind of gun that is, despite having infantry swarming directly over it. Hour and 20 minutes now, so probably time to put a cut in. I think we're certainly pretty close to taking the village. I don't know if maybe we'll finish up next time. We've got another objective up there to take. So I suppose it depends on how much fight the Germans have left in them. In any case, we'll pick up next time.